This is Jerry Vasilatos for Chicago Corner, Hardlands Media. We're at the corner of Wrightwood and Kimball, where a crowd of approximately several hundred just dispersed after assembling to peacefully protest the construction of the General Iron recycling plant in the 10th Ward, the southeast side of Chicago.
I say we are so powerful because we're shutting these streets down. And all of us, we grew up. For folks in the southeast side, we know our places. We know our favorite gems. And we come here to protect those places because the southeast side is alive and strong. The southeast side is here because she won't go down to our part of the neighborhood because she knows she won't be welcomed. That's right. Because she won't see our families cry. She won't see my mother begging me to eat. She won't see my father begging me to say, when do we leave the southeast side? I'm not leaving the southeast side.
Many people in public health are very disappointed that leadership is not coming from Commissioner Allison Arwani of the Chicago Department of Public Health. We're not seeing the leadership from the mayor, whose duty it is to look out for the well-being and to fight environmental racism.
For a full month, the first hunger strikers have been hungry for justice. Next thing you know, what started as a protest became a movement. The second wave came, then the third wave. My husband Barney joined the strike. That got to show one big thing. Even if he is part of city council, he will never stop fighting for what is right. Because it's the people before the profit. Anytime, anywhere.
So I've been on a hunger strike for 20 days now. Today, we're out here protesting to make some noise for Mayor Lightfoot to deny the permit. We've done every single legal action. We went to town halls. We went to city hall to formal legal ways, and you know she's not paying attention to us. We even confronted her face to face. She got in her car and she went out, and that's not right. So we're here in the north side, saying like, hey, we're out here, we're protesting. We want you to deny the permit.
When did you find out about the recycling plant that was going up in the neighborhood there?
I've been hearing about it. I'm pretty active. I'm a member of AFGE Local 704, so I'm a scientist who works on public health. I'm a public health scientist. And so we've been hearing about the environmental justice fight for a long time. In Pilsen, we've been fighting metal shredders and all sorts of things for a long time. And General Iron is just another chapter of endless chapters of polluters moving to the southeast side without any concern for the residents' health there.
If they can't relocate to the southeast side, the RMG is threatening that they will use other metal shredders in our residential areas, and one of them is in Pilsen. That's my home. I've been there for 19 years. My family lives there. My brothers and sisters live there. And I simply cannot allow General Iron, we simply cannot allow them to relocate to Pilsen, to the southeast side, or anywhere in our residential communities. They don't belong in residential communities. They can do their business somewhere else where there's no one there.
It's interesting that they've begun construction without a permit, and it seems almost like they feel it's a shoo-in getting the permit after they construct a thing with these hearings that are coming up. How do you feel about that?
I feel like it fits with the pattern of the city of Chicago for a long time. This for generations. If you look at like this community, it was formerly a redlined community, and this community wasn't. And so the legacies are carrying through. We think of racism as being in the past, but the same lines of racism, the ancestors of these people on the hunger strike right now, were fighting these fights decades ago and they weren't listened to, and the fight continues today. So, you know, we need Chicagoans, we need Americans, we need all people of goodwill to stand up and demand that all people have clean air to breathe, not just people in wealthy communities that have been historically favored by the white supremacist system, capitalist system in America. We need justice now. Are we going to do it in 2021? If not now, when?
Do you think Mayor Lightfoot got the message here tonight?
We hope so. We do. You know, we've made a lot of noise, and I'm pretty sure she did.
How long have you been on your hunger strike now?
20 days. 20 days. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, let's hope that the mayor is listening to the people who've come out here this evening to share the seriousness of this matter.
We don't need a hunger strike for her to pay attention, right? It's unnecessary. It's undue. You know, the people have already spoken. They be like, "Yo, deny the permit." See, it's in her power. Home rule. She has home rule, which means that if there's any threat poses to any community, she can use home rule to simply block the threat, and she's not.
How do you feel about how Mayor Lightfoot is handling the situation, letting down the community where the recycling plant is being constructed?
I feel like she's totally bastardized, made a mockery of the democratic system. She ran on a platform of reform. She ran on a platform of restoring the Department of Environment that Rahm Emanuel got rid of. She ran on a platform of environmental justice. She came and spoke to these communities, and just like she lied to Anjanette Young at Anjanette Young's Baptist Church, she lied to this community too. And at some point, you know, Chicagoans need to stand up and realize that, you know, we voted for the wrong person, and we need to take back the city for the people.
So we know that the plant that's under construction right now, they don't have a permit, and they're assuming that they're going to get the permit in hearings. They're basically building something without any oversight with the laws they've got to follow with the environmental protection laws. How do you feel about that process that's going to unfold at these hearings, given the fact that the place will pretty much be practically built?
That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. There should be federal investigations. There should be continuing to investigate this. There should be legal observers. There should be every possible way to know that they know that they cannot build without that permit.
Thanks for your thoughts today.
Appreciate you.
From Mayor Lori Lightfoot's neighborhood, this is Jerry Vasilatos for Chicago Corner. Good evening, Chicago. That was the scene about a year ago. And let's fast forward to the present. How about that? General Iron's permit was denied. Now, we're going to get into the details of this story. I think the greatest thing about this is that it shows that, I guess, protests and civic action does matter. Here to join me tonight to cover this week's stories is my friend and colleague, Mr. Kit Cabello.
Hello, what a glorious day it is, and I'm so happy that the South Side is coming out strong and that this is a victory. But we can't take it easy because, again, we all know how corrupt Chicago politics can be, and there's always some sort of crazy loophole that these bastards can climb through and once again get the operations going again. But this is the power of political movements and organizations happening. And what I will ask, at least in the stand of solidarity, before we get started with this story, that the same people who fought so hard to make sure that scrapper on the south side wouldn't be built, please, can you help us with the matte asphalt plant that is built next to McKinley Park? For those of you who don't know, the matte asphalt plant was built in 2018. No one from the state of Illinois, city of Chicago, or Cook County, no one in any political position of power informed the residents of the 12th Ward of the construction of the matte asphalt plant, and that place is operating without a permit. There's been loads of trucks going in and out of that facility, plus on top of that, asphalt plants release out particulate matter that impacts the heart, lungs, and brain, and the people who are impacted most are senior citizens and young children. So we got to get rid of the matte asphalt plant that's by McKinley Park in the 12th Ward. Lori Lightfoot, where are you at? To my brothers and sisters on the north side and all across the city of Chicago, please, if you haven't supported the Neighbors for Environmental Justice, please do so. They have been the organization leading the fight against the matte asphalt plant, and I hope that they do win. And sooner or later, I hope that the matte asphalt plant is eventually gone.
I think it's so fascinating to note that the story from last year, in the middle of the pandemic, and people were still on the streets because this was so important.
Yeah.
And with General Iron struck down, let's see what's going to happen next with matte asphalt. It's definitely a step in the right direction. We can't lose sight of the ball now that, one victory, we need to get the next victory lined up. let me read from the Block Club Chicago story, though, because it's interesting. This recycling plant's been in operation for about a year without a permit. Now that they've been denied the permit, you made note of the fact that there'll probably be a lot of legal maneuvering, but what happens? Do they shut down? Do they have to like abandon operations there? A lot of interesting questions left. So this comes to us from Maxwell Evans at Block Club Chicago. The city's health department Friday rejected the final permit needed for a controversial metal scrapper to open on the southeast side, a victory for local activists who spent years organizing to block the industrial facility's move from the north side. Southside Recycling, owned by Reserve Management Group, will not be permitted to move troubled scrapper General Iron's assets and employees to 11600 South Burley Avenue in the east side. Reserve Management Group spent $80 million in anticipation of a permit for the facility at the Burley Avenue campus, where the Ohio-based firm operates 4 other recycling facilities, company officials said. That's like potentially money up in smoke. Since General Iron's plans to leave Lincoln Park were finalized in 2019, Southeast Siders have resisted the plan to open another industrial facility in an area of environmental justice concern for state regulators. They filed federal civil rights complaints, sued city officials, and held numerous rallies and protests in an effort to block Southside Recycling's operation. Several residents held a month-long hunger strike against the facility last year, and that's the story we opened the show with that we covered last year. It's kind of an anniversary. Our community is not a sacrifice zone, a coalition of a dozen advocacy groups said in a statement. The decision can be a turning point for communities of color that have been hurt by environmental racism for decades. Although we are celebrating this decision, the community continues to deal with the toxic legacy that has allowed pollution to accumulate in our community, and we will not stop fighting for our right to clean air, and we will continue to fight until the health of Chicago communities like ours can live in a healthy environment. A city health impact assessment, which analyzed the potential effects of allowing Southside Recycling to open, found the scrapper was unlikely to add significantly to the health hazards already disproportionately faced by Southeast Siders. However, the scrapper would have added to the community's air pollution, negatively impact residents' mental health, continued the city's trend of concentrating heavy industry on the southeast side, and risked bringing water and soil pollution to add to the lead we've already got in our water. Explosions, fires, and noise to the community, the assessment found. The health department found the potential adverse changes in air quality and quality of life that would be caused by operations and health vulnerabilities in the surrounding communities, together with the company's track record in operating similar facilities within this campus, present an unacceptable risk, officials said in a statement. Now, Southside Recycling is located less than a half mile from Rowan Park and about 2/3 of a mile from George Washington Elementary and high schools. 2/3 of a mile. The facility would have boosted the city's recycling capacity, as Sims Metal Management in Pilsen is the only local metal shredder in operation after General Iron shut down at the end of 2020. Sims, located less than a mile from 3 schools, was how do you even, what are you thinking? You're building a facility within the vicinity of a school. That's just
these
nuts.
people don't care. These
Nuts.
industrial facilities that are being built on the south side of Chicago, on the west side of Chicago, this is part of the two-pronged plan for gentrification. Because here's the thing. There are stories of the regular ways gentrification happens. Schools are shut down. You have large real estate developers buying up land, pushing people out. But another way that they do it, it's very insidious. You build one of these industrial facilities in a community and becomes so bad, the smell, the pollutants, the health risk, causes families who've lived there for generations to move out. And then you have these large real estate developers move in. The industrial polluter magically disappears, goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden comes in gentrification all over again. Look, I'm glad that these activists and organizers were able to get this victory, but they can't rest on their laurels because there's always going to be a loophole in Chicago politics. They got to keep on fighting. They got to keep on being aggressive to protect not only Pilsen, but all of the South Side. And I want that same kind of energy to be that tag team tag-in for the Matt Asphalt plant. That is another facility that's been operating without a permit. I don't mean to switch stories or anything like that, but again, this gives me hope I really do hope that the people of 12th Ward in the city of Chicago can get rid of the mad asphalt plant, because McKinley Park is a beautiful park, and there are 2 schools, not 1, but 2 schools very close to this asphalt plant.
So, you know how many jobs that this would have created for the sacrifices that would have been thrown on the community? 35 new jobs.
Oh, wow. 35 new jobs.
At the risk of everybody's health in the community, all these kids at the schools.
Wow, brilliant.
35 new jobs. Southside Recycling would have also benefited from the Southeast Side's economic development by creating those 35 jobs. Now, Sims Metal Management in Pilsen, which was located less than a mile from 3 schools, was sued by the Illinois Attorney General's office this fall for allegedly breaking air pollution laws. Let's see, RMG officials blasted the permit's denial as a political play, not a health and safety concern, saying city health leaders ignored the results of their own health analysis and the state's prior approval of the scrapper. They vowed to press their lawsuit against the city, in which the company seeks $100 million in damages and the right to open for business. Federal and county judges have dismissed the case, though the company is appealing the county court's ruling, spokesperson Randall Sanborn said in December, which should have been an apolitical permitting process. First of all, get the fucking permit before you put operations in place. How about that? How about you get the permit, or I guess, I mean, I'm assuming the permit has to be granted based on their assessment of the property, their assessment of the business, but the fact that it's taken this long and taken a year, and they're saying that this should have been an apolitical permitting process, there's got to be a better system put in place that you issue a permit before you actually relocate these operations. I mean, they've got to put through proposals, they've got to put through reports, they should be presenting to the city exactly what their plan is, get the permit, then put the operations in place. This process of we're just going to set things up and wait for the permit to come into play after all that money is spent, and now they're going to have all these lawsuits after the fact, just doesn't seem like very, I don't know, practical or conducive.
You know, I have to say, with these facilities that are being built, I want the people of the south side and west side of areas of Chicago to get their due justice. I'm very happy that this victory is here. But it's almost like, what took so long?
Yeah.
You know, that's something else that's bothering me too about this administration is what took so long. You knew that this was illegal. And remember, it wasn't a few days ago, when we were talking about Mayor Lightfoot and how thin-skinned she is and how she lashes out at her staff, especially when they bring up subjects like this or other key issues that are impacting the city of Chicago.
You know what the spokesperson Randall Sanborn went on to say? Politics, not environmental or public health protection, is the only reason that the city denied Southside Recycling's permit to operate. I would say to Randall Sanborn, why don't you go move there?
Yeah, move there.
A mile of the facility, and then come back to us and tell us that this is politics and not about public health protection. These jerk-offs who are advocating for these environmental polluters, you know, they live in their cushy communities far removed from where these polluters are operating.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, what I would say to Mayor Lightfoot and to Governor J.B. Pritzker, and I want to bring up the Mad Asphalt plant, is they both ran on improving the Environmental Protection Agency here in the state of Illinois, Pritzker specifically for the state of Illinois, and Lori Lightfoot for the city of Chicago, for the Chicago EPA. And they both did their little propaganda and talking points of how they're going to help out people. But, hey, Governor J.B. Pritzker, you did a picture in front of the McKinley Park Community Garden just before the asphalt plant was built. Where are you at, Governor J.B. Pritzker, when it comes down to the Mad Asphalt plant? Where are you at for the people of the south side and west side of the city of Chicago? None of these politicians live in these areas because it's okay to write it off. It's okay for them to dismiss it. It's okay for them to say it's about politics, all while ignoring how people are suffering. Look, there's lead in our drinking water, and now we got these pollutants and these industrial facilities in communities, homes, apartment buildings, small businesses, schools, public parks are being impacted by this, and the people's health is being impacted by this. Where is the justice at? Why is it taking so long? And the reason is why it's taking so long is because we have a thing called money in politics.
There you go, right there in that comment.
Where the politicians are bought off by the corporate donors and the lobby groups and these special interest groups that want to make sure that they get their bottom line paid out. Well, that recycling facility was operating without a permit, and neither is the Mad Asphalt plant. So Governor J.B. Pritzker of the state of Illinois, why aren't you laying down the law on these facilities? Why aren't you shutting them down, making sure they stay shut down? Why aren't you making sure that they're kicked out? Because at this point, yeah, okay, Lightfoot, I'll give you this one. You did the right thing, but it took you too long. So Governor Pritzker, where are you at? Where are you at for the citizens of the South and West Side? Where are you at to making sure that the recycling facility isn't built anywhere else on the South Side of Chicago? Where are you at when it comes down to the Mad Asphalt plant? People are tired of waiting. People are tired of being told to calm down, because if this happened in their communities, if someone built an asphalt plant in Lightfoot's community or Governor J.B. Pritzker's community, I'm willing to bet every single cent that I have in my name that they would be raising a shitstorm. No, I believe Jerry has been frozen, so we're going to figure out what's going on with that in just a little bit.
Are we there?
However,
Sorry, Kit, we seem to have timed out there.
I timed out. I think you timed out.
Oh, did I time out? Sorry, I wasn't sure. I just saw both screens freeze. I wasn't sure what was going on.
I was still talking. I think
Cool.
it was you.
Sorry to interrupt.
So keep on. Anyways, continue on.
Well, let me wrap out the tail end of the story regarding the details. The report made no recommendation because the city is investigating some apparent permit violations discovered through the analysis at existing RMG facilities on Burley Avenue. Megan Cunningham, the Health Department's managing deputy commissioner, said Tuesday. Now, the full assessment was not released to the public before a decision was made. Shouldn't they be doing that to the local community there, communicating with them and interacting with them there? Other aspects of the final report, including a federal health study that was incomplete as of Tuesday, and an analysis of community input from 3 public meetings, will be released February 28th. So there were meetings on this. Mayor Lori Lightfoot paused Southside Recycling's permit review in May after U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Michael Regan said the Southside Recycling proposal raised significant civil rights concerns and urged the city to perform the health analysis. Now, yeah, we'll give one to Mayor Lightfoot, but this was at the urging of the U.S. EPA, because Lightfoot wouldn't have reviewed the permit or suspended it pending this investigation had the EPA not gotten involved. The city's permit decision comes nearly 20 months after the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency approved Southside Recycling's plans. A U.S. EPA investigation into the state's approval was suspended pending mediation last March. The health department's denial also comes more than a year after officials quietly granted Southside Recycling's first city permit, breaking their promise to give public notice about the scrappers' application processes. Kit, you can't help but wonder that if none of this would have happened had it not been for the efforts of the protesters and all the organizers that were out there last year and have continued for this past year to get the federal EPA involved and looking at this. Well, last year, up through the review process that took a year. Health Department guidelines say the city will decide on a recycling facility's application within 60 days after the application is posted online. Under that time frame, a decision was expected last March. How did we get here? Though Southside Recycling was denied its operating permit, company officials had plenty of reason to believe it would be allowed to open. In July of 2018, Mayor Rahm Fuckface Emanuel's administration coordinated with Reserve Management Group to announce General Iron's operations would move to the southeast side, according to the Sun-Times. So this all started under Mayor Rahm. The first major step toward the facility's potential opening came in June of 2020 when the Illinois EPA approved permits for the facility. The Illinois EPA approved it. U.S. senators, aldermen, activists, and neighbors voiced concerns with the scrappers' plans during the state's public comment period, citing General Iron's history of environmental violations. Anyway, weeks after the scrapper reopened following... Oh, well, wait. There were explosions there. Let's go. I'm sorry, I lost track of what I was reading here.
Problems at the North Side facility included a 2015 fire, a 2016 ordered shutdown, a 2017 harassment lawsuit, and a 2018 citation for excessive air emissions. This is everything that was going on at the North Side facility. So naturally, they would pick up stakes and take everything to the South Side. Following the 2018 citation, General Iron installed pollution controlling equipment that would have moved through Southside Recycling. After Reserve Management Group acquired General Iron in 2019, a pair of explosions in the pollution controlling equipment forced the facility to temporarily close in May of 2020. Weeks after the scrap reopened, following the explosions, and 1 week after Reserve Management Group paid the city $18,000 to settle all its outstanding municipal violations, a scrap pile fire occurred on site. And they expected to get the permit. No problem. We'll get the permit. All this stuff. No, we'll get the permit. But Illinois EPA officials repeatedly said they could not consider General Iron's issues during the permit review process. Why? Environmental groups rejected this claim, citing state law that says permit conditions may be specifically related to the applicant's past compliance history. So Kit, there was shit going on behind the scenes with those approving this. In light of all of these safety violations and dangers.
It's called money.
Of
money,
course.
money, and more money. In fact, I'm going to put that in the chat right now. It's all about money. That's all it is. It's all it ever will be. And the thing is, these politicians just want to keep on earning more money on the side so they can keep on getting away with all their crimes and illicit activities. And that's why we have to remember, when it comes down to standing up against these politicians, we have to show solidarity. And that's why I'm asking again for everyone, the same kind of energy that we saw for this recycling facility. I want to see that for the Matt Asphalt plant and all these other industrial facilities on the south and west side of Chicago.
The Chicago Department of Public Health approved the first of 2 city permits in October of 2020, giving no public notice as leaders previously pledged to do. The air pollution control permit allowed Reserve Management Group to begin building Southside recycling. City health officials had promised to keep residents informed about the approval process, but the public didn't find out. Reserve Management Group had even applied for the permit until 15 days after it was approved. Lightfoot said, "The situation wasn't a failure on the city's part. Instead, it was a miss." Her health officials said it was an oversight and miscommunication. There's so much oversight and miscommunication in the city, isn't there, Kit? But with the first permit in hand, Reserve Management Group began building the new facility in anticipation of final approval. Southside Recycling has been ready to open since early last year, company spokesperson Sam Board said. So anyway, look, this is a big win, but the fight needs to continue with Matt Asphalt. Let me share some pictures here from the article. That's there you go. What a beautiful facility. And here are the protesters and organizers who helped get to this victory. The permit's denial is vindication for Southeast Side residents who spent years calling on officials to bar Southside Recycling from opening. Though the city's unfinished report found no appreciable risk that Southside Recycling would cause immediate or long-term health effects, that justification misses the point, Southeast Sider residents said. So anyway, victory, and let's move on to the next story tonight. So the reason we started tonight, everybody, is not our fault. Kit, you want to share what driving conditions were like?
Well, okay, yes, the snowstorm has passed, but it has severely impacted our roads, our sidewalks, and the thing is, last night's snowstorm caused a delay in airplanes, and there was a lot of spin-outs happening on the highways all across the state of Illinois. Other states were impacted too. And with the aftermath of it, it's still causing a lot of, traffic. And so that's why we kind of had to start the show a little late, because I was in said traffic, and the roads are still not cleared out properly.
Now, we knew about this storm. This storm was supposed to hit us, I believe, Thursday morning, and it didn't hit us till last night. So we knew about the storm Wednesday. I was out yesterday at, I want to say, just before 3 o'clock when it started coming down, and it was like driving on wet glass.
Yeah.
No salt trucks were out, despite the fact that they knew a day before that this was coming anywhere. And the fact that it took a day, into the storm to finally salt the streets, I just don't understand what the plan is when you know a snowstorm is coming, why are you waiting till after the snow's coming down instead of like getting the trucks on the street as it's starting to come down or before? Let me bring up. There was a, I had a problem with some of my screens here. Let me open up this story. This was the ABC 7 story. Give me a second here. There was a, yeah.
Well, I actually got an interesting story to bring up after this one because this
Yeah,
one
go ahead.
got my attention too. But there has been such a huge delay of all of the airplanes. Like, I'm hearing a video playing in the background. Is that it?
Yeah, I'm pausing it. No, continue. I'm going to pause it as it starts. I don't want to, give me just a second. Let me pause the video so it doesn't automatically start and drown you out. Okay, so go ahead, Kit.
Yeah, well, so anyways, like the air traffic had to be canceled. A lot of planes had to be delayed. All across the state of Illinois, especially our major highways, even those going through the city of Chicago, we were looking at spinouts, traffic jams. Thankfully, we were at the studio, and where we're at, we were on the side street, so we were all still able to get home safely. It's just, my goodness, it was such a nightmare. It was a pure whiteout. Like, it got to the point to where if you looked out at the one area where we don't have the green screens up, Jerry, I know you've been to the studio before.
Yeah.
We've actually put all the green screens on the windows, but in the one office area, you couldn't see the Chicago skyline at all.
Yeah.
Like it was that bad. That's how crazy the entire situation was.
Let's go to the ABC story. I want to also quote from it, though. The Chicago area was digging out Friday after a winter snowstorm blanketed the area, with areas in northwest Indiana seeing the highest snowfall accumulation. Much of the snowfall Thursday hit the south and southwest suburbs at around midnight. Snow-covered roads continued to create problems. Why would you send the trucks out at midnight?
Why
would you send the trucks out overnight instead of before or during? All right, let me go to the report here.
Well, remember, we did find out that there's reasons why the trucks don't come out because they're following orders.
Yeah. All right, let's get this thing loaded here. I'm worried it might run a commercial first, but
oh boy,
sorry, we're having all these tech difficulties tonight.
Some days it's okay, some days it's not. But don't worry, folks. Chicago Corner still pushes forward.
Yeah. I had all these stories queued up. Okay, here we go. And then my Chrome window closed, and then I have to reopen them, so they weren't queued up as I had hoped before the show started. Come on. Do I have to read from this?
I guess so, my friend.
I might have to. Well, here's Snow Tracker. So this shows. Okay, here we go. Finally.
Even if no one's there. And Sergeant Moore.
Okay, great. Sergeant Moore.
For her room with you.
I don't want to hear about this till the story starts. So, come on, man. Start the story. All right. Oh, wait. I thought that there was. I'm sorry, guys. I thought that there was a report queued up. I must have the wrong link because I believe that I had
That's fine, Jerry.
All right. So anyway, here's Snow Tracker. It doesn't look like from the Snow Tracker right now. I don't see if it looks like they've only done the main streets. It doesn't look like they've done any of the side streets. Now this is downtown.
We've seen it before.
This is updated right now. This is right now.
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at all one bit. Now it's all on the north side. Hey, I wonder if we went south and west.
Yeah, let's go down south.
Let's do a big zoom out and look what's happening on the south and west side. Wow.
Yeah,
wow,
look at
Mayor,
that. Look at that.
Mayor Lightfoot. Jeez Louise.
This whole area here.
Got a big old hole right there, big old hole right there, big old hole right there, another hole right there. Lightfoot, come on, this ain't Swiss cheese. That's the city of Chicago. Why are you abandoning those neighborhoods, Lightfoot? Why?
Now this is what all this led to also. I think that there's a report there we go. Yeah. So there was a pileup during the winter storm down on I-65. Now this story will load. Let me get the audio up. Come on, please. Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's how bad it was. Mad Max.
Pretty much.
I like how Oreo is supervising over this. Like,
Yeah,
why aren't the videos playing?
He's running the board now.
No, Oreo's more upset of how come the videos aren't playing, right?
Yeah, there's
Well,
more.
new here at 6 o'clock, a follow-up story 2.5 years in the making. An Indiana man who made a life-saving request.
That wasn't our story.
Finally has that.
All right, anyway, I'm going to just have to close this window because there's just too many problems with it. Let me just move on to our next story. Sorry, guys. I mean, everybody knows what's going on. I thought that in light of the fact we were starting late tonight, it was of note. Let me get to our next story here, which is, all right. Let's run the video from this and we'll talk about it.
3 lawsuits against the Chicago Police Department are on the agenda today for the City Council Finance Committee. Citrell McComb sued CPD over the 2015 death of her 1-year-old son. She claims 20 police officers ignored orders to stop chasing a driver through a neighborhood after a shooting. That chase led to the speeding driver jumping a curb and crashing into the stroller that her son was in. Another settlement is with Mia Wright. From the civil unrest and looting at the Brickyard Mall in May of 2020, Wright was left blind in one eye after police dragged her out of her car by her hair and put a knee on her neck. 2 officers were stripped of their police powers after a COPA investigation. The third is from 2 people who say an off-duty cop shot at them in December of 2020 as they sat in their car. One of the men was wounded. The officer involved was a use of force instructor at Chicago's Police Academy. He first claimed the pair drew guns on him, but the officer's weapon was the only one found at the scene. If approved by the full city council, it could cost taxpayers more than $4 million.
My
Now,
God! Are you
what was
serious?
interesting about this story was the aldermen who were resisting the payment of these settlements because they thought it would create precedent for protesters or for rioters to sue the city. And the alderman who was against it was Lopez. So here's what happened during that city council hearing on that. Alderman Raymond Lopez opposed the Wright settlement, saying officers were dealing with chaos citywide in the face of widespread looting. Paying Wright and her relatives, this is at the Brickyard Mall settlement, would open the door to many other lawsuits from people who were trying to loot, pillage, and destroy the city of Chicago during the Floyd protests, he said. And Nick Sposato wondered why Wright, who he said lived in the West Side North Lawndale neighborhood, drove to the Northwest Side Mall to shop on a day when Chicago was experiencing extensive, well-publicized public disturbances following the Floyd murder. Victim painting here. She decided to go out shopping. She got racially profiled. She got assaulted. And in Lopez's or Sposato's opinion, she shouldn't have been out shopping because this shit happens. Sposato's comments prompted Alderman Jason Irvin to ask, what's wrong with somebody who lives at Pulaski and Cermak coming to the Brickyard to shop? People do have the right to move about the city or move about the nation as they choose, Irvin said. Bring a Target store to the West Side and you won't see us up at Brickyard, he added. And Alderman Leslie Hairston noted that the city has a problem with racial profiling. It's perfectly legal for Black Chicagoans to shop at the store of their choice, regardless of how far it is from their homes, Hairston pointed out. Sposato implied that they were there for nefarious reasons and they should not have been there because they didn't live there, she said. The Finance Committee on Thursday also gave the go-ahead to the $1.4 million settlement for Citrell McComb. She sued the city after her 13-month-old son, Dylan Harris, was killed in the 2015 when the car driven by a man fleeing police in a high-speed chase jumped the curb in Woodlawn and struck the boy's stroller, as that story shared. McComb alleged in her federal lawsuit that officers willfully and wantonly chased the car driven by Antoine Watkins at speeds over 70 miles per hour on a Saturday afternoon when many pedestrians were out on neighborhood sidewalks. Watkins was convicted of reckless homicide in Dylan's death and served more than 4 years behind bars, according to the city attorney, Mary Ruther. Well, once again, escalation, not de-escalation.
Okay, how many times do we got to go through this? Look, this is a long, sad history of the CPD where we have incidents like this. And collectively, those 3 separate incidents are going to cost the city of Chicago $4 million.
Cost taxpayers.
Yeah.
The $4 million, right? I mean, because obviously the city of Chicago's.
The thing is, while Alderman Raymond Lopez, that's the alderman, right?
Yep.
Was vocal against this. Alderman Raymond Lopez, what I would have to say to you is this. There are millions of other stories like that. Maybe I shouldn't shoot that high, millions, but maybe thousands of other stories similar to what the 3 stories we saw there. There's a lack of accountability, not only in Chicago politics, but in the Chicago Police Department and every single branch in our city government. We need real accountability, real reform, and there's a total teardown that's needed. So I don't want to hear excuses of how the city is underfunded or how the city is broke. The Chicago taxpayers have suffered enough because of this incompetence. And yet, this is what happens every day in our city. Where is the accountability? Where is the mayor? Where is the city council?
Why aren't the police required to carry insurance, liability insurance? Why?
You know what? At this point,
every other doctors have to.
Instead of the taxpayers paying out, have the Chicago Police Union pay out,
or take it out of the offending officers' pensions.
Yeah, take it out of their pensions. Take it out of the union.
Do your job right, or face the consequences. Look, we talk about this all the time, man. Ad nauseum, Kit. It's a privilege to serve. Okay, we don't want to come on here and rail against cops all the time. But you swear an oath to serve the public good.
Yep.
And they're not doing it. It's sloppy. It's spotty. It's there's an attitude. There's a culture that it's them against us. Escalation. It's just, I get tired of reporting on this stuff because we're saying the same thing over and over and over again, and nothing changes. And I don't know what it's going to take to get things to change.
Yeah. I hear you. And I'm tired of this abuse. But you want to know what's interesting, though? Maybe it's a little tie into this story because the story I recently found, and I wish I shared it with you in the show notes, but I want to let you know something. Jerry, do you remember a story of G.I. Joe?
Of course.
From Fox Lake?
Oh, no, I don't know. I thought you were talking about G.I. Joe.
No, G.I. Joe Glenowitz. Joe Glenowitz. Do you remember?
I'm not familiar with this story. No. Bring us up to date.
Oh, really? This
No.
doesn't ring a bell?
Well,
in 2015, just before the 2016 presidential election cycle, there was a guy named Joe Glenowitz. He was a cop's cop, apparently. He ran his own scout program in Fox Lake, served many years, even served in the Army, too. He was found dead. His last raid report was that he was following 3 suspicious individuals. But however, things didn't add up. And it was eventually found out that Joe Glenowitz committed suicide.
Oh, I remember this story. Yeah, and it was for the insurance for his family.
Yep, and also it was found out that a city woman, that one of the city auditors for Fox Lake, was actually looking into his little program. Turns out he was stealing money from that. And now it's found out that the widow of disgraced Fox Lake officer pleads guilty and won't stand trial. So the widow of disgraced former Fox Lake officer Joe Glenowitz pled guilty on Friday and will avoid trial. Melody Glenowitz is charged with helping her late husband embezzle money. Lieutenant Glenowitz committed suicide in 2015 after authorities discovered he was embezzling money from a youth police explorer program that he ran. The couple allegedly used that money to pay for vacations, mortgage payments, porn subscriptions, restaurant tabs, and more. A massive manhunt ensued for suspects that didn't really exist, and Glenowitz was buried with honors before officials discovered what really happened. And I won't forget that Pharaoh's funeral that he got. And so many people, honestly, some of those videos are still up, and they've aged with time like fine wine, because under all the comments where people were saying this seems suspicious, there were all those defenders of Glenowitz saying, "How dare you this and that," and then what follows later is, "I apologize. I didn't know Glenowitz was a scumbag. I'm so sorry." All this other stuff. It's really great seeing that kind of stuff.
In light of how the aldermen are questioning why people would come shop at the Brickyard Mall because they're from another neighborhood, how quick they are to judgment to assume that someone who's going to go shop at the Brickyard Mall has some kind of nefarious reason related to the rioting. But this guy, G.I. Joe, they didn't even think twice about, everything's on the up and up there. You wouldn't dare question the guy's integrity because of his job.
Well, you know what? There was actually a YouTube channel that I was surprised actually did a coverage on Joe Glenowitz. It's called That Chapter. It's got like 1 million views on it right now. And it talks about Joe Glenowitz and his scumbag behaviors. And it was so fascinating revisiting time, because apparently he made before he offed himself, he made an elaborate fight, because he sprayed his mace, fired his taser weapon.
He planted evidence. He planted evidence.
He planted evidence, like he was in this big fight, and then he fired 3 shots into himself.
Wow!
But the thing is, there was a search for 3 suspects, and there were 3 individuals that were caught: 2 black men and 1 white man. And the thing is, thankfully, because here's the thing, like a lot of cops, as soon as they were investigating the scene, they were able to realize, like, oh, wait a minute, something doesn't add up. Like these 3 guys, these 3 suspects who were like at least questioned, thankfully nothing else happened to them. They were in the wrong place at the wrong time, because this jagoff Glenowitz wanted to take the coward's way out. He was going to hire some sort of gangbanger, some motorcycle gang to try and off this Fox Lake auditor. And it's really incredible seeing the Farrell's funeral that he got. But his wife has pled guilty and she won't stand trial. So, okay, she's admitting to it, and there you go, ripping the Band-Aid off. Whatever happens, it's going to happen.
That's an example of the kind of behavior that Fraternal Order of Police President John Catanzaro doesn't think the city has the policemen's backs on.
There was this video that was being played for a tribute for Glenowitz, and it started off like this: policeman, he's a friend of the community. And it went into details of just what an ideal police officer should be. And it's just like, now that video's been taken down, but it's like, wow. That doesn't fit G.I. Joe at all. I mean, he was a real scumbag.
Didn't age well.
Yeah, no, Glenowitz would sexually harass women at the Fox Lake Police Department.
Big surprise.
Showed up drunk on the job, slept on the job. I mean, this guy was not a cop's cop. He was a scumbag through and through. A lazy piece of crap who was just embezzling money.
Well, speaking of corrupt pieces of crap, let's go to our next story. That was a good segue. We reported on this Tuesday. So Thompson Daly was indicted. Convicted. And this is our feel-good story for the night to close the show with. 2022 could be a banner year for aldermanic convictions, experts say, as Patrick Daley Thompson verdict is first in a string of corruption cases. Maybe this will be the opportunity to clean house down at City Council, although one downside is Lightfoot appoints replacements. We have to wait till the next election cycle for new aldermen to be voted in. So who she decides to appoint for her own agenda is what I think people are going to be paying attention to. But since 1969, 37 aldermen have been convicted of a crime, most await trial. But Bill Cameron, who covered City Hall for 50 years, says we catch only about 3 or 5% of the bad guys. And this comes to us from Mac Liederman at Block Club Chicago. Alderman Patrick Daley Thompson of the 11th has joined an infamous but ever-growing group in Chicago. I want to call it a club. Convicted politicians. Thompson, the grandson of the late Mayor Richard J. Daley and the nephew of former Mayor Richard M. Daley, was forced to resign from City Council after he was convicted Monday for lying to regulators and 5 counts of filing false federal income tax returns. Now, since 1969, 37 members of Chicago City Council have been convicted of a crime. Chicago is the United States' most corrupt city, and Illinois, the 3rd most corrupt state, according to an annual report from the University of Illinois at Chicago. Tell us something we don't know.
Yep.
The 2021 report, co-authored by Professor and former Alderman Dick Simpson, uses corruption statistics published by the Department of Justice from 1976 to 2019. 1,170 people in Chicago were convicted on federal charges of corruption. They see there's easy money, and I wonder if there are some of those bad apples in the Illinois EPA that approved those permits in the first story that we covered. They say there's easy money. That's allegedly, not a fact, but it's my opinion. They see there's easy money, Simpson said, and that there are many who are never caught. The actions we see are only the tip of the iceberg. Simpson said 2022 could be a banner year for convictions, as at least 3 aldermen are facing charges or have recently been convicted of crimes. There have been more indictments in major cases, Simpson said, but just convicting people isn't enough. During Simpson's time as the 44th Ward alderman from 71 to 79, he was offered a handful of bribes, he said. I'm sure everyone has. The rising costs for aldermen to run a successful campaign, which Simpson studied to average around $250,000.
Jesus Christ.
Right. When Tuesday's chat, my dad was saying, hey, why don't we run for mayor? Okay, Dad, you got $250,000. You
need a $500,000 or a solid mill.
Yeah. 250 is the starting bid to be an alderman. Has pushed officials to take small bribes and backroom payments in exchange for political favors, he said. We still have a culture of corruption with machine politics. Journalist Bill Cameron, who covered City Hall for 50 years and retired in 2021, said corruption is so out in the open. I'd like to say it's getting better, but it's not, he said. The joke at City Hall was, you can't be around the place very long without getting hit with a little falling graft. You had to consider working there as an entertainment, or it would make you sick, Cameron said. It's part of the corrupt tradition of the city of Chicago. So many greedy politicians seeing other politicians getting away with stealing. Cameron said in his opinion, we catch only about 35% of the bad guys. There's too many people out there, couldn't be trusted around money. We put some of these guys in a penitentiary, but they just keep stealing. So here's the Hall of Shame, or the Rogues Gallery of Chicago aldermen.
Oh, let's look at these lovely politicians of ours. First, you got Patrick Daley Thompson.
Yeah, who have been convicted or could face trial in 2022. So Daley Thompson has already been convicted. He claimed innocence since he was charged in April for income tax fraud and making false statements to regulators. Daley Thompson received $219,000 in loans from that bank, Washington Federal, between 2011 and 14, before he was elected to the city council in 2015. Prosecutors said Daley Thompson went on to file for deductions even though he was not making payments on the loans he took out. He then lied to collection agencies and federal authorities to pay less, prosecutors said. The bank was shut down in 2017, just 2 weeks after its president was found dead of an apparent suicide. In court on Monday, prosecutor Michelle Peterson said Daley Thompson planned to pocket about $15,000 over 5 years. Daley Thompson did not testify, but his lawyers argued he was only guilty of sloppy bookkeeping and forgetfulness. A quality I'm sure a lot of his clients could appreciate that he was representing.
Oh, wow. God almighty, what a scumbag.
So he's set to be sentenced July 6th. Since he resigned, Mayor Lori Lightfoot has 60 days to fill that vacancy in the 11th Ward. Lightfoot will be required to appoint a new alderman with the consent of the Chicago City Council. Now, who's our next in the Hall of Shame here?
By the way, I want to bring up two chats here. I want to bring up two chats here. Cassie Powers, 2022 says, Ed Burke, will they ever get him? And then Eric Tino Diaz says this: I know the CPD is corrupt, being the Chicago Police Department, but I also know not all are corrupt. I can attest to that. I've ran into bad cops.
Yeah.
But I've also ran into some very good cops. All Chicagoans need to build trust for both CPD and civilians, or we won't have a Chicago at all. And as I like to say, there are good people in Chicago. The city is still worth saving. So there we go.
Gotham isn't beyond saving. Give me more time. There are good people here.
There are good people here in Gotham.
I would say to Eric Tino Diaz, yeah, I mean, look, I've always had to parse. We know they are good cops, but when you say all Chicagoans need to build trust for both CPD and civilians, I think that a little bit more effort has to be put in on the CPD side.
Yeah,
to bridge that gap. That's the problem.
Ricardo Manzo. Oh, the 22nd Ward. Okay, what did this comb over do?
Yeah, so now we're going to Ricardo Munoz. Yeah, right. The comb over Ricardo Comb Over Munoz. That should be his Rogues Gallery nickname.
Oh, yeah, the comb over.
So he's looking to dodge jail time on his wire fraud and money laundering convictions. In a sentencing memorandum filed last month, Munoz's attorney wrote that community service and supervised release is a sufficient but not greater than necessary penalty for Munoz. Federal prosecutors argued that the former alderman deserves to spend a year in jail, according to WTTW. Last year, Munoz pleaded guilty to 15 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of money laundering after taking money from the Chicago Progressive Reform Caucus to first help pay an overdue tuition bill. Munoz went on to swipe nearly $38,000 from the caucus between October of 2016 and June of 2020. The former alderman took out cash withdrawals and rang up debit card charges and hid the fraud by making false reports. He used the money for iPhones, sports tickets, sightseeing trips, and ready for this? Skydiving excursions. Money well spent.
Wow.
It wasn't even to pay for. It wasn't even to support his campaign expenses.
Wow, so I can imagine how his hair would have looked. See, because they're probably at one side, like, come on, dude, come on. See, now my hair would be nice and flowing. Be like, woo. This guy would like, there you go.
He didn't. Do you know that Munoz did not? I guess he wasn't elected to city council. He was appointed to the city council by former Mayor Richard M. Daley in 1993 and left office in 2019 after deciding not to run for re-election. He was indicted in April of 2021. In a court filing from December, the government asked U.S. District Judge John Ness to send Munoz to prison for 1 year and 1 day, adding that he abused his public position and betrayed the public trust. All right, next in our rogues gallery, Ed, the boss, Burke.
Oh, can I just say one thing? Okay, sure. Ed Burke inherited his seat from his father. The Burkes have been in power of the 14th Ward for 70 plus years. 70 plus years. This is a guy who tried to shake down a Burger King. This is an alderman of the city of Chicago. Look, city of Chicago, big metropolitan city, trying to shake down a Burger King. A corporation.
And he still has the gall, in light of everything I'm about to share with you here, to not resign while he can and let someone else do the business of his work, because he's got his law firm, he's got his power. I think that he's trying to rake in as much as he can before the final axe falls. But even when that final axe falls,
right,
I don't know. I don't know what kind of punishment or penalties we can really expect him to face.
I don't know, but see, here's the thing about Ed Burke, and that is that same Burger King also had footage of the Laquan McDonald shooting too.
Yep, that was the McDonald's. Yep,
that was Burger King, not McDonald's.
Burger King. I'm sorry. Alderman Ed Burke was charged in 2019 with racketeering, bribery, and attempted extortion, with prosecutors saying he steered work to his law firm. That's how he's been enriching himself, by using his connections in city council to steer work to his law firm. The case has stalled and hovered above the longest serving alderman in Chicago history since then. There is still no trial date set. Most recently on February 8th, a judge heard arguments over key pretrial questions in the case. Prosecutors say Burke, 78, here you go, Kit, held up permits for a Burger King in his ward, and that was the one outside which Laquan McDonald was executed, and urged Burger King executives to donate campaign cash to Tony Preckwinkle, who is running for another term as Cook County Board President.
I can imagine that conversation, like the executives at the Burger King International Corporation, Inc., whatever. I know, because Burger King's worldwide. It's like, is this fucker really shaking us down?
Yeah, this is Ed Burke. I want to talk to the king. I want to recommend that you make a donation to Tony Preckwinkle.
Hold on, wait. You got to rewind that. I'll be the king. You got to be Ed Burke.
Oh, you're taking my invitations away from me.
No, it's fine. Please.
So what do you want me to I want to talk to the king. I think you guys need to send us some money if you want to get this. You want to get this permit. All right, so
this is the king. I've never heard this before. What's going on? This is so weird. You want me to do what? No.
We need money. We got Tony Preckwinkle running. We need money. You want the permit? You pay up. Burke pleaded not guilty and is denied. Of course, he pleaded not. He's denied wrongdoing. There's nothing wrong with what he did. Burke has served as alderman for more than 50 years, and he was once the chairman of the powerful finance committee. In a twist, it was another alderman who led the feds to Burke. Former alderman Danny Solis of the 25th was outed as a federal informant in January of 2019. He taped private conversations with Burke for more than 2 years, cooperating with federal investigators when they threatened to go after him for allegedly getting sex acts at massage parlors, free Viagra, and... Dude, this is like oh my God. And campaign contributions in exchange for insider deals.
Oh, wow.
Friend of the show.
He's a busy old man. There he is, going about living his life. Jeez.
AG, I was waiting for a porn subscription to be added to that list. And fuck Preckwinkle too. Eric Tino Diaz shares, Chicago is more corrupt than Mexico. Mexico is more corrupt than Chicago, or both are corrupt. My parents are from Mexico, and my father knows corruption well and learned about corruption from him. So, friend of the show and frequent contributor, Art Medina, this is why he no longer has a job at City Hall. He used to work in Burke's division. I mean, he wasn't working for Burke, but many city workers that were in Burke's office got let go because of this investigation. I remember him telling me the way that, everybody was just shocked the way the investigators came in and shut down the office, threw everybody out because they wanted to collect evidence. Dana Fairbanks, it would be a shame if something happened to your Burger King.
What's going on here? I've never heard of this before.
All right, let's go to our last rogues gallery here. Carrie Austin.
Oh, boy.
Carrie Austin, who used to be looked upon as a progressive reformer, I think, but she's pretty much disgraced herself. Alderman Carrie Austin of the 34th, 72 years old, is the second longest serving alderman with nearly 30 years on city council. Took him 30 years to finally catch up with her. She and her chief of staff, Chester Wilson Jr., have been accused of taking bribes from a real estate developer. It's a lot of money in real estate, Kit, especially for Chicago's alder people. Austin was charged last year with 1 count of conspiring to use interstate facilities to promote bribery, 2 counts of using interstate facilities to promote bribery, and 1 count of willfully making materially false statements to the FBI. Prosecutors said Austin accepted home improvements, appliances, and furniture, no porn subscriptions, starting in 2016 from a contractor working on a $49.6 million project in her far south side ward. Austin and Wilson later gave taxpayer money to the construction company to help with infrastructure improvements in the ward, prosecutors have said. All right, well, nice. She kicked a little bit back. I guess that makes it all okay. Austin said in December she plans not to run for re-election if she's drawn out her far south side ward. So
she's got to go.
Yeah, they've all got to go.
They all got to go. And you know what? With that last one, a progressive reformer, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah, I'll have to get that drop for our videos.
Yeah.
Eric Tino Diaz, to learn about corruption as if you've experienced it. Yeah, good point. Well, on that note, hey, look, at least they've got 4 in the bag that they're going to be getting rid of, and hopefully more to come as far as our corrupt city alderman participating in the long honored tradition of corruption in our city council. Kit, anything you'd like to share before we bring the show to a close?
I know a lot of people are going to say Chicago's beyond saving, but there are good people in Chicago.
Gotham isn't beyond saving. Give me more time. There are good people here.
I can't help it, Kit. I can't help it.
There are. But we do have a problem with corruption. And in 2023 will be the next city election.
Yeah.
2023 is our next municipal election. I know a lot of our viewing audience is tired of electoral politics, but I know that there are people that do want to step in and represent their aldermanic districts and fight for this city. The people of Chicago have to fight for this now. We just can't sit on the sidelines. Whether you're Gen X, whether you're Boomer, Gen Xer, Millennial, or Gen Z, now is the time to step up and fight. We got to stand up against this corruption. There are signs of weakness in it. It is starting to fall apart, but we got to be aggressive and take the fight to them. This is our home, and we got to fight for it because there's nowhere else like it.
Someone, I don't think it was, I met Kathy Powers on occasion. I don't know if it was Kathy or another activist that I met that recommended I should run for alderman in my neighborhood. Yeah, if anyone's got $250,000 to start, I'll consider it. If they don't, all I can do is sit here with Kit and all of my other Hardlands Media associates and bring the news to all of you in the hopes that the right people step up.
We got to fight. We got to fight for that better future. We got to work together on this. I think we can do it. We can pull this off, but look at these road guys. They got to go. These careers politicians got to go.
Yeah.
They never cared about us, so they got to go. You don't owe them anything.
And it's encouraging that the feds are spending more time narrowing in on our corrupt politicians here in Chicago, but it always relies on another corrupt politician to roll over on the others to expose all the evidence and give it to the feds. All right. So listen, everybody, it's Friday night. If you're out driving, please be careful. Obviously, the streets are not all fully salted and safe. Have a safe weekend. Watch out for each other. Be vigilant. And remember, if it's happening on the streets, you'll often hear about it here on Chicago Corner. Kit, thanks for joining me tonight.
We are Gotham. We are Hell's Reach.
Stay safe, Chicago.